Assalamu alaikum guys, and welcome to another episode of Smile to Jannah. We are in the 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. The Prophet ﷺ said there are no days on which righteous deeds are more beloved to Allah than these 10 days. And the hadith goes on to talk about other things as well. This is narrated in Bukhari. Make sure you guys are worshipping, and if you want to give your qurbani in the Gambia where people really require food and sustenance and support, I'm gonna leave a link in the description. Please do consider it. Right, so yesterday you guys have probably heard all over social media and mainstream news that Israel rescued 4 hostages. Now you've got the likes of the BBC mentioning this, 4 hostages rescued, and you'll be forgiven to believe, you know what, it's a clean operation, 4 innocents were rescued. Very good, mate. But this is far from the truth. Upon digging, you will realize that, and this is digging within the mainstream media, you will realize this is not the complete picture after all. It is as if they have smashed a vase and then separated it in 10 different houses, and you have to go to all 10 houses, pick up the pieces and try to join them. So what I've done is, of course, my very own website s2jnews.com, because we don't trust the mainstream media anymore. One of my latest articles is exactly on this topic. I've got all the evidences there and I'm going to be mentioning them in this video. Let's just jump into it. So 4 hostages, but there are credible evidences to suggest that just the 4 hostages were not rescued. Oh no, many hostages have also been killed in the process as well. That's number 1. Number 2, where did this take place? Well, this took place in it's called the Nusayrat refugee camp. Yes, you heard. It's a refugee camp with innocents, and yes, 200 Palestinians were murdered. Indeed, and 400 were injured. And indeed, this is what happens when you attack in a densely populated area where there's loads of people there. They did it daylight, mate, where loads of people were going about their business. Innocent people. And before they say, oh, we don't know how many of them were bad guys, well, you've got organizations that are not linked to Palestine. They are Doctors Without Borders and the Medical Corps. They have also confirmed this as well. Not to mention, at least 90 people that were murdered were children. This was obviously not mentioned, and being on YouTube, I can't show you the footage as well. But unlike what Israel claims, when they say this happened and that happened, they don't give footage. They only show it to a handful of journalists and actors, even doctors. One such doctor in Al-Aqsa called it a bloodbath. Now, is it any wonder why the UN has pushed for Israel to be added to a blacklist? Now, I know you're thinking, like, which blacklist? Yeah, I'm sure you can add him to all blacklists, but there's one blacklist that it's not a good look, and that is a blacklist of countries that harm kids. That's mad. And what are you going to say? The UN is Hamas? And let's journey back to the BBC headline. You can see, tiny little writing underneath. That's where it mentions the Palestinians. But no, 4 hostages, mate. Yeah, that's more important than the 200 people that have been murdered. By the way, we're unbiased, we are. NBC reported that the hostages were, and I quote, in good medical condition. You can see this is one of the hostages. 8 months. Yeah, he's been kept as a hostage. And look at his beard. Freshly shaped up, trimmed. The guy looks fit and healthy, you know what I mean? And look at this woman. She looks really happy. Yeah, and this prompted an Israeli Channel 12 anchor to say her eyebrows look better than mine. Obviously, she got removed after that, but damage had been done. And compare this to Palestinian hostages and how they're treated by the Israelis. As you can see from the New York Times, they are sticking hot rods up the backsides of the Palestinians. And after doing that, they give them diapers so they don't soil themselves. Yeah, this is the only democracy in the Middle East, yeah, Israel, and that's why the UK and the US have to support them, you see. Let's continue and see how this operation was actually done. According to the New York Times, they were proudly saying that the United States were involved in this. There was a tweet by the White House admitting and celebrating involvement in this, but it was allegedly deleted. Here it is, as you guys can see. But the Cradle reported that the soldiers hid inside aid trucks disguised as humanitarian workers. Yeah, we can see footage by Al Jazeera that they had recovered. Otherwise, obviously, this would be denied, because who does this? It's weird. Why create distrust against aid workers? I mean, these people are supposed to be immune, but it's Israel, you know what I mean? If you say anything against them, you're an anti-Semite. And this is the bit where the Americans are very quick to deny this, but deny what I'm about to say, not deny the fact that there is a pier that you can see from the sea that the Americans have built, and it was mentioned by eyewitnesses that this was used in this hostage operation. Now, this means that the Americans are at war. It's as simple as that, which they want to deny and cover up as much as possible. But the evidence that is coming out it's ridiculous to deny, you know what I mean? And the fact that the United States have responded to this allegation when they could have just said, it's completely unfounded. So I think this strongly does suggest US involvement. At least this much involvement, the New York Times was proudly saying, which the Israeli papers haven't been mentioning, because obviously it's looked really bad for them, because since this all started, they've only rescued like 7 hostages, yeah, and got loads of them killed. So it's not a good look, you know what I mean? And naturally, they're going to use this as much as possible. And you can see from other reports that the actual reality of what's going on. I spoke to an Israeli girl at Speaker's Corner as well, and she said that, yeah, we are not given the complete picture. We are kept in the dark. In fact, Al Jazeera was the only light that gave us another aspect or perspective of what's going on, and even they have been removed from Israel as well. And not to mention, like I said, while Israel has been fondling and raping their male hostages, God knows what they're doing to the females, but here you can see examples of Israeli pundits constantly bombarding to the people. The hostages must have been raped. They must have been impregnated. One of them's probably had a child called Bob. Yeah, and Bob is probably learning how to talk now, even though they've only been taken hostages for 8 months. They're all sorts of concocted stories, but this woman comes out looking very healthy, smiling, very jovial and healthy. No evidence of wear and tear, no evidence of her being tortured and harmed, whilst when you see the Palestinians, just side by side, have a look yourself. So yeah guys, hopefully you've benefited from this. Don't forget to keep your eyes and ears on s2jnews.com, because if you are not informed, most likely you can be manipulated into thinking that your oppressors are truly your saviors. And of course, we are more smarter than that, especially if you are a viewer of Smile to Jannah. Let's leave it there, guys. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.